Here we are.
We're back. We just had another great episode of Real Life Matters there with the...
And that was real. That was in real time.
In her real spa to go into Ozone there.
Yeah. You've been in that thing, right?
Yes, I have. It's a very good experience. You have never been in that?
I haven't been in
Well, see, you gotta take time out and go and take care of your health.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm a big believer in ozone. You know that. We got some ozone things right here. One over there, one over there.
All right, and we got our final guest of today of the half hour here. We got Pimpton. He's coming in. He'll have to tell us when he's coming in, but we also got our co-host, DJ Despair. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Caribbean Liquid Lunch. Welcome.
And let me take, you hear me? Everybody
I hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me take this time to introduce Pimpton, coming out of Regina.
Oh.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, he's from where I'm with Regina, Saskatchewan.
Yes.
I live in Regina. I was born in Moose Jaw. Wow. Wow. You can go say hi to my dad and them in Moose Jaw. Bird Bostic and Kerwin.
Yeah.
Kerwin.
Wow.
Introduce yourself, family.
Hey, how's it going? This is Pimpton, once again representing Regina, Saskatchewan out here. Thanks to DJ Despair for the invite.
Well, is it cold out there?
Nah, it's actually pretty beautiful right now. This is the best November I think I've ever experienced. It's like plus 16 or something, plus 18 today.
You know, it's funny.
18.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
No snow yet.
Oh, well, Despair, how's Winnipeg today?
I think we about around plus 15, maybe.
Oh wow, you guys got it even better than us. I mean, we got a nice day here too, but it's not.
Yeah, we're 14. We're 14 right now. You know, it's funny, Pimpton. I was gonna wear the same too, okay? But I just put the sweater on. Put the sweater on. Put the sweater on. I didn't want to scare DBoss to them and pulling the whole thing down and pulling the tooth out like how we wear it. Right?
I saw something earlier on your Facebook, Despair.
Oh yeah, we have there's a thing with all of us, like Pimpton started his crew like a Gorilla Clan, right? So everybody, we've always been wearing masks, stuff every year. So now it's just be creative with it because COVID. So that's why I did my thing. But either way, we're not talking on me. This is my boy Pimpton. Pimpton, tell us about yourself and your music career and when did you start it?
I just want to ask one other question. Where's Pimpton? Where does your family come from? Are they from Saskatchewan too?
No. I myself, I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. We all moved here in about 94. So my nuclear family, my mom, dad, my sister, we all moved here in 94. So we've been repping Saskatchewan since. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Came from the islands to the cold prairies.
Hey, I just got to ask a question, and this is both to you, Pimpton, and also Despair, because there's a guy that works here who's also kind of a performer, like hip hop, and he's from North Battleford, and his name's Chad Baloyne. I don't know. Have you ever heard of that guy?
No, I haven't heard that name.
I'm not sure if I've ran across the name, but I'll look into it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Actually, he was here last week. He does some tech work for us because he's not just a performer. He's a computer guy too.
Nice.
So yeah. So Pimpton. So what's your whole thing? What are you doing out there in Regina in terms of in terms of your art career?
I guess essentially, Regina by default. I was 4 years old when my family moved here, so this is kind of where I was placed. When we arrived, Saskatchewan had something called the SCCA, the Saskatchewan Council for Caribbean Association, or something along these lines. Saskatchewan Caribbean Council Association, something like this. But essentially, we're like immigrants from the Caribbean, Africa, wherever, kind of come, group up, and meet other people like us. So that was my first real reintroduction to Black culture when I arrived in Saskatchewan. Being from Trinidad, evidently the national instrument, the steel pan. I'm an amazing steel drum player. I played the tenor pan for 15, 16 years of my life. maybe longer actually. I think 20 years because I started when I was like, or 23 years. I started when I was 7. I just turned 30. So that's crazy to even say out loud. But so I started doing that, and then the association also had us doing a lot of folk and like African style dances. So I got into the dance troupe, and I think around the age of probably 10, 11, I started to fall in love with hip hop. So around the year 1999, 2000, I think in 97, my dad bought me a Will Smith CD, Big Willie style, and that kind of started setting the tone. So it was like a hip hop album with no cuss words, so it was a go-to for him. By 2000, I started really falling into the love for hip hop, and I think around then you start to develop your own little like attitude or personality, and I started feeling like all the folk dancing was, you're wearing all these super colorful costumes and such, and I just didn't feel like that's where I felt like I wanted to be a hip hop dancer, so I wanted to wear the baggy clothes and the backwards hat, etc. And the organization, they were really open to letting us express ourselves, so they allowed us to start kind of like dabbling with hip hop dance, which resulted in, by the time I was 12, I became the hip hop dance instructor. So I started teaching a hip hop dance to about 7 other young people, and we started entering competitions, et cetera, and we started placing gold and getting like whatever, it was like first place gold standing. I don't know if you're familiar with how the dance competitions go, but you can essentially place first but not get the medal. So by the time we started getting the medal, like the gold medal, it was kind of set in stone that I was like this little hip hop dancer in Saskatchewan. And from there, started to develop a lot of attention from, the young ladies around me and the young guys and whoever, and was dubbed Pimpton, which kind of stood for a little pimp at the time. So that's where the nickname came from. I've been called Pimpton since I was 11 years old. Wow. I actually have like, I don't know if you guys are, I'm in French immersion, or I was in French immersion, so I'm fluent in French, but in our class we had something called like not a duotang, but it was like a cahier, but the cahier was essentially like a divider that we would put on our desks when we're doing exams, and it just was like blinders essentially, so you couldn't look at other people's desks or tests, but we were also allowed to kind of stylize them ourselves. And like it's super funny because I was 11 years old, and there's actually like my cahier says KP/Pimpton, and my teacher wasn't feeling the name Pimpton, so she put Curiel, like she like glued my birth name over top of Pimpton, and you can see through the paper still. So like to this day, I have this thing from when I was 10 years old that says Pimpton, just to certify the fact that I've been called Pimpton for such a long time. But beyond that, I think around when the movie 8 Mile came out, battle rap became a big thing. And since I was already involved in this hip hop, when I was probably about 9 years old, my mom gave me a book to write down poems because I used to love writing songs and writing poetry. So I had this book, and by the time 8 Mile came out, I was essentially pretty versed or well rehearsed in freestyling and performing and rapping. I was also, like I said, I was in French immersion. We used to have this contest called the Concours d'Art Oratoire, which was essentially just like a speech. You stand in front of a bunch of people and you write a speech and you compete with your speech. I used to get gold first place locally, provincially, wherever. I was supposed to go to Quebec for one of these contests at one point, mind you, between the ages of 9 and 13 or 8 and 13 or something. So I've always kind of been a personal speaker, or whatever it's called,
public speaker.
Public speaker, thank you, Blair. I've always been a public speaker in that sense. So when the freestyle battles and these things kind of came up, like I said, I was already in the pocket. So I started kind of rapping and showing up at high school parties around the age of like 13, and the older kids took a liking to me because I would just come and do my little performance, whatever, and it was just like this moment. And hip hop was starting to really thrive as like no longer just the underground, certain people know about it, but kind of spearheading a form of pop culture at the time. So I kind of rose in ranks based on that and that little background story. And then once I graduated high school, or I guess right before high school, my auntie, who was a teacher at the school, she's now a professor at the University of Regina, head of education, but she's a black lady from Jamaica, and she really, really wanted to instill black pride in the students because, you know, being a visible minority, not only is our history not focused on, but it's very difficult to even voice our opinions and problems without, you know, being, oh, you're pulling the black card or this, that, or the other things that Caucasians love to say. So my auntie started this poetry slam kind of thing that we would host in the library annually. And she decided to ask me to help her organize and get kids to come out to the very first one. So we did that. And that was actually my first time performing in front of a large audience under the moniker or name Pimpton. So once that took place, the whole school knew me as Pimpton. This is grade 11. The whole school now knew me as Pimpton. And come graduation day, after grade 12, I had recorded my first studio project, and we had a party. We had a album release party, sold out, super crazy party, whatever it was. But that was me essentially solidifying myself in the rap game as a young Saskatchewan artist. The album was called The Newer Testament, and that was 2008. So the rest of that is kind of history. From 2008 or 2009, I got heavily involved in what you would call medicinal cannabis scene. So I started working for a place called Head to Head at the time, now called the Treehouse, but Head to Head at the time, and they helped. The owner of that was actually one of the first 7 people, Tim Selinsky, Stephen Selinsky. He was one of the first 7 people in Canada with a medicinal marijuana license, or a license to be a grower. What did they call it? An LP, a licensed producer. So he was one of the first 7 people to have this license. He started this business. I became an employee. So for 2.5 years, my kind of focus was helping people acquire medicinal marijuana licenses, something I acquired for myself upon turning 20. I've had one since. So I'm 30. I've had one for 10 years now. Well before the legalization or such things were even really a topic. And, you know, the way that kind of benefited me is I've been in numerous circumstances or occasions where I've been stopped by the police with marijuana on my person, whether it's a big bag or a little joint or whatever. And literally every single time they have given me my cannabis back and let me go about my business. So I've seen friends get charges and end up under the system and all kinds of things for simple little possessions when I knew, and I attempted to tell all these people because, like I said, it was part of my job to share this information, but some people just didn't want to be put on that list or whatever their fears were at the time. But essentially, I knew that possessing cannabis is no different in Canada than driving a vehicle. All you needed was a license to do so. And in order to acquire that license, all you needed to do was take the necessary steps. So cannabis, hip hop, huge part of my upbringing, huge part of my identity and who makes me what I am. And therefore, you know, once I'd say 2014 kind of came around and I was more established in the Canadian hip hop game, I really just kind of started going all in. I stopped working at Head to Head and I decided, well, I went back to university. I finished a degree in philosophy. But in the meantime, I decided to take all my resources, all my money, all my everything, and committed to hip hop and committed to becoming a touring artist. So since 2015, when I convocated in 2015, I've been a touring artist. This is actually due to COVID, the first year that I'm even in my city during November. So even to say that, like, I'm blessed, like if this is what global warming brings us, like, you know, like hurrah, because this is the first time I've been in my city in November that it's not minus 20 with the wind chill or something.
Wow.
Speaking on that note, last year we went on a tour together, and
We did a
who
tour
did we tour with?
Dizzy Wright, Mad Child. It was just an amazing experience. Me, Despair, my DJ Blends, and then we were the supporting group for Dizzy Wright, who's an artist out of I believe he was born in Flint, Michigan, but he lives in Las Vegas, so he's a Las Vegas artist at this point. And then Mad Child, obviously a Canadian Juno winner, like huge artist. Mad Child's a huge artist. All respect and love to Mad Child for being down with me since day one. He currently, I believe, lives again in LA. I'm not sure. He may have moved back to Canada, but anyways, Mad Child and Disney, right? Yeah, we did a 26 coast to coast show tour in the span of August 29th, I believe, October 15th, something like that. Just drill. Like, it was actually amazing. Started in Victoria, ended in St. John or something. Like, did the coast to coast. It was amazing.
Wow.
And during that time too, DBoss, we got to go see Louis Rankin 4 days before he passed.
Oh.
So yeah, so that was like that was kind of like a blessing during the tour, because Pimpton never had a chance to meet him, and I needed to see him. And we walked in the room to go even work, and then next thing you know, 4 days later, our brethren is gone. You know, and it's like,
yeah, rest in peace, Louis. It's actually so crazy how life works like that. One, like we were on our own schedule, and Despair actually was like, "Hey, I have a friend out here. Like, do you guys want to? Can we make time in the schedule to go do this?" And, you know, there were parts of me that are like, well, we got to make another show, or we got to do this, that, and the other. But then I was like, you know, Despair's here for me. He actually came out on a limb and did all this for me. I was like, of course we can make time. The friend turns out to be Louis Rankin. So it was like, you know, it was like a surprise. And then all of a sudden it was like lit. Like, we're chilling with like this dude I grew up watching in Shatas and, you know, Belly, like whatever. It was like, it was just an amazing little experience. And he invited us into his home. We smoked, we chilled. He showed us his entire new album. And then after that, he allowed me to play a bunch of my stuff. And he was just, I don't know, gassing me up. You know, he was just making me feel absolutely amazing. He's just dancing, like turning up with me and saying that we were going to go on. He was supposed to do a European tour 2020. So he threw us on the tour, and he's like, you guys are going to be my supporting act. Boom, boom, boom. Like, we're going up. Like, that was that. And then obviously, as God would have it, he went on to the great beyond. But it was just an amazing experience to take that little chance and have that moment that we get to solidify. The worst part about it, though, is because he was playing all his unreleased music, and it, like, he was on his label, whatever. I don't know if it was Universal or who he said was releasing it, but he didn't want us to record anything. So that was the actual worst part, is that, like, I literally have like a 20-second clip, and then he's like, okay, turn off the cameras. Because we didn't want the music to get leaked, but, you know, we got pictures, we did the thing. It was just like, yeah. Shout out to Despair for making that happen.
But the one thing about that we're talking about life-changing situations, we drove back consistently on the same type of highway, like leading while he was coming back in the weather at that time. So we're lucky we even made it back this way because of some of the stuff that we saw.
Drove through a crazy blizzard on the way back. A crazy blizzard. Like, the ruts on the road were literally trying to take you into the ditch. It was absolute madness. But yeah, all praise to God that we made it.
Yeah, we know that feeling.
You know those Ontario highways? Those Ontario highways are scary.
In the winter? Oh my.
Pimpton, I want to ask you something. Who do you see, or who would you like to do? You know, a coalition with?
Hold on. DBoss, ask him who he has worked with before you say that.
Okay. Can you let me speak, Despair?
Sorry. I just wanted you to word it right, because he's all right. Please.
All right. Well, okay. Who have you worked with, and who would you like to work with in the future?
Okay, I'd say, as far as, aside from all the amazing Saskatchewan artists I've worked with, the people who I actually came up with and are still consistent, as far as major artists, I've worked with Tory Lanez. So he was on my last project, the Pimpton LP, which was released in 2018. I had Rich the Kid on there. I had Fetty Wap on there. I've worked with Future. I've worked with Andre Nicotina. Many producers that I can't remember right now as well. But
Peter
I don't know.
Jackson.
The list goes on. Pardon me?
Peter Jackson, Mad Child.
Peter Jackson, yeah. Peter Jackson, Mad Child, Dizzy, Adlib. Like it's a crazy list of people outside of my circle that I've worked with. But nevertheless, DJ Despair, like, I think every name is actually valuable on that list, not just the major people. But recently I worked with a man named Hair on Tracks from Chicago. He actually produced my entire newest album, which is called Tunnels. I dropped Tunnels October 30th. It's a visual album, so there's actually a music video that accompanies every single song. 13 songs, 35-minute project. The whole block of 35 minutes is one movie, so you can check it out on YouTube after this and, enjoy it. It's actually a whole journey. As far as artists I would like to work with in the future, it's really hard to say. Like, I've kind of come to the point in my career where I feel like I just want to kind of work on myself and invest in myself and not really go the route of seeking other artists as cosigns, etc. Simply because, I know who I am, I know what I stand for, and I may have a business investment idea to work with a certain artist, and they may, intellectual property wise, do something completely au contraire to what I believe or stand for, and at that point the investment's a wasted investment. So I've kind of come to this place where it's not even on my radar. But who would I like to be in a room with? I would love to be in a room with Jay-Z, soak up all the information. I'd love to be in a room with Kanye, Lil Wayne, Drake, T.I., Ludacris, like Miss Lauryn Hill, one of my top Fugees. Like, honestly,
don't forget Will Smith.
I would love to be I would love to be in a room with the people I look up to. But whether or not a collaboration is where I'm going, it's not necessarily what I've done it so many times that I know I could be best friends with Will Smith, but could not release a project with him on it without clearing it with all the labels and lawyers, etc. So it's almost like this, where's the art part of it at that point? We're not even doing it for art. If you're taking the time to do that, you want to put a certain amount of budget and money behind that, and therefore you're doing it as a business move more so than as an artist, so.
Well, Pimpton, we're going to play one of your videos here, and it's time to go. I know it went quick. It goes quick when you're on this thing, man.
I'm long-winded. I know. I have.
You got the cue.
Yeah, do you guys have
Thank you for coming on, and I want you to come on and big up everybody in Saskatchewan, boy. Woo!
Hey,
and big up Despair.
DBoss, which song is it?
It's different.
Yeah,
Cherise.
Can you introduce this song, because it's very personal to him?
Yes, this song is dedicated and was written about one of my best friends, one of my brothers, one of the first Black people I knew in Saskatchewan. He was murdered last year in 2019, and it's an unsolved case. But I dedicated this song to him and his family, and I just wanted to at least have a moment of peace with him. As an extra tribute on that song, I threw in the steel drum. So I play steel drum in this song. If you hear it in the background, shout out to my old steel drum instructor, Desmond McAllister. Shout out to you guys for having me. The Tunnels visual album is out now, October 30th. This was the drop date. Whole project's out. Make sure you run it up on YouTube and all streaming devices. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
I have to be ready for a lot of stuff, especially if I'm going to do this meal and stuff. Like, I got to be strong in some sense, right? We got to pull all this strength. Yeah. I know, just being silly. Sometimes I was telling him, I talk to him and say crazy things. But yeah, Alan was missing him quite a bit. I knew it. The other day he said, gosh, I started off his head. I just pictured Marcus coming in. Hey, what's up, you guys? The way he kind of like, you know how he is. So, yeah. Yeah. So.
Maybe life would be different.
You and I forever, that's my favorite song. Plotting on the future where we both belong. We'd hop up in the whip, ain't need no place to go. Riding through the Queen City, singing our favorite songs. Just a couple street kids, we was never home. You knew the streets, I knew the books, we both played our role. That go for funds, guns, drugs, and shawty. Oh, I know you'll always be here, cause I can't let you go. Watching moms cry brought me so much sorrow. Some nights I forget that I won't hear your laugh tomorrow. And I can't blame God, cause this life is borrowed. But why'd he put you on a path where I couldn't follow? You joined the team, I joined the team, my nigga football. I joined the team, you joined the team, we share the booty call. My nigga knows, so I don't care about getting through to y'all. This year winter feels colder, God, I lost my bro. Didn't even wanna write this, but my body said go. Couldn't even stop to tell how long my heart went fall. When your brother hit me up, my body left my soul. Had to pull the car over, not to down that fall, not to down that road. I can't go down this road. We was supposed to grow old. We was supposed to grow old. We was supposed to grow old. Champions deserve gold.
If I could just turn back time, take my own advice, maybe life would be different. If I could just turn back time, take my own advice, maybe life would be different.
Brother, brother, you can't see what you went and done to me. Why'd you have to go and leave? This ain't how it was supposed to be. Brother, brother, you can't see what you went and done to me. Why'd you have to go and leave? This ain't how it was supposed to be.
If I could just turn back time, take my own advice, maybe life would be different.
Brother, brother, you can't
If I could just
see
turn back
what you went and done to me. Why'd you have to go and leave? This ain't how it was supposed to be. Now on behalf of all the fam, I'd like to thank you for all the good times and adventures. Sitting around the cypher kicking jokes that make a gangster laugh. Spreading love, trying to outrun a gangster's past. Now I know you at peace everlasting, in whatever version of heaven you once imagined. Even though I never forgive the ones made it happen, the thought of you with God and your happily ever after keep a smile on my face that Da Vinci couldn't capture. So until we meet again, I'll be thinking about your Marcus. Always keep you where my heart is the hardest. Trying to act strong when part of me is missing. I need you here with me just like Christ need a Christian. And I know the angels gon' shine when they meet ya. Families forever and we'll never stop believing. Forever in our hearts till our hearts stop beating. See you in my dreams and I don't wanna stop dreaming. And I know the angels gon' shine when they meet ya. Families forever and we'll never stop believing. Forever in our hearts till our hearts stop beating. See you in my dreams and I don't wanna stop dreaming. And I know the angels gon' shine when they meet ya.